1985 is a year remembered for some major cultural milestones. Marty McFly traveled back to the future, Mike Tyson made his pro boxing debut, and Nintendo released Super Mario Bros. But what really interests us today is that this was the year the new Skyline was unveiled on a Japanese island. A 4-door sedan and hardtop were introduced first, followed by the top-of-the-line 2-door GTS in May 1986. This new generation featured an improved suspension setup, a more luxurious interior, and was overall positioned as an upper-class ride. Thanks to Japan's rapidly growing economy, road cars were reaching almost absurd levels of techno-wizardry. The race for tech dominance was intense, and the R31 was at the forefront. It was Japan's first car to use projector beam headlights plus electrically adjustable dampers, a retractable front spoiler, and the high-capacity actively controlled suspension system known as HICAS, which was used in all subsequent GT-R generations until the R34. The HICAS system used hydraulics and speed sensors to subtly turn the rear wheels during cornering. Although other Japanese brands were developing their own 4-wheel steering systems, the R31 was the world's first. However, the most significant innovation was Nissan's new RB engine. This family of straight sixes with aluminum heads achieved legendary status in later iterations and powered Skylines for 17 years in a row. The 180 horsepower RB20 DET in the R31 GTS was the first step toward one of the most famous engines in the Japanese automotive industry. The R31 GTS also served as the base for the very first Autech limited edition, produced in only 201 units. Though most R31s struggled to balance luxury and performance due to all the heavy equipment they carried, the racing versions did not disappoint. Enter our hero of the day, the limited edition GTS-R Coupe, which rolled out in 1987 as the homologation model for Group A touring cars. The racing version, prepared by Nissan for the All-Japan Touring Car Championship, produced 400 horsepower and 412 Newton-meters of torque with a curb weight of 2,560 pounds. The complete race car featured a big turbocharger on a stainless steel manifold, a front-mounted intercooler, and numerous true racing features like an improved cooling of all the systems, reinforced racing diff and drive shafts. The hood and doors were made of composites to save some weight, and inside, everything was all about racing: roll cage, fire extinguishing system, gauges, and a bucket seat. Hitting the track in 1988, the GTS-R finished 6th overall in the 24 Hours of Spa in Belgium. However, in Japanese and Australian touring, it struggled to compete with the dominant RS 500 Sierra, which had 100 horsepower more. In 1989, the GTS-R faced more success. 2 cars were set on the grid in the Japanese Championship. The car number 12, with the iconic Calsonic livery, took pole position in 4 of the 6 races that year, but often plagued by mechanical issues, won only 1 round. The Reebok Skyline number 50 won 3 races and was in contention for both titles with Ford until the final race of the season at Fuji Speedway. Although Ford snatched the manufacturer's title, the R31 held on to the Drivers' Championship, setting the stage for its successor, Godzilla, to dominate the following years. In 1990 Down Under, Jim Richards won the Australian Touring Car Championship. He drove the GTS-R in 6 of the 8 races, winning 2 of them, and then he finished the season on R32 GT-R, clinching another title for Nissan and cementing the GTS-R's place in history. It may sound like a short career for a racing car, especially if we talk about a Skyline, but the R31 remained popular in the Japanese Touring Championship. In 1995, Yoshimi Ishibashi was driving an SR20DT-powered Skyline GTS-R and took both drivers and team titles in the GT2 class. The R31 chassis was used in JGTC until '98, still competing against more modern cars. Homologation rules required a minimum of 500 units to be produced. Nissan announced 800 cars, but the actual number is believed to be 823 examples, made between August and November 1987, including all the racing cars and prototypes. All the GTS-R were painted a special bluish-black color and had distinctive features. They sported their own front bumper with extra vents, and unlike the GTS, the front lip spoiler was fixed, as the electronically controlled aero parts were prohibited due to Group A regulations. GTS-R had its unique racing rear spoiler, special 15-inch BBS rims, and plenty of special decals and badges to highlight the uniqueness. The interior featured all the options available for the GTS-X model, but had its own steering wheel, seats, and grey trim. Under the hood, the GTS-R packed an RB20 DET engine, with a big Garrett TO4E turbocharger mounted on a stainless steel equal-length exhaust manifold. It also featured a bigger throttle and a remapped ECU. This engine proudly displayed its own RB20 DET-R badge on the intake manifold, delivering 210 horsepower and 245 Newton-meters of torque. Unlike the standard R31, the GTS-R had a front-mounted intercooler, just like the racing version. Additionally, it came with a lightweight flywheel, limited slip differential, its own shocks, and a front strut tower brace. Back in the day, experts considered the GTS-R as a pretty quick car. With its estimated 5.8 seconds from 0 to 60, it was faster than even the Hourtech version with the same output. Though it shared some flaws typical for 1980s turbocharged homologation specials, such as turbo lag, the GTS-R is still revered for its performance. So what's up with its availability? At the time of making this video, I found only one genuine GTS-R for sale in Japan. It's almost in factory condition, the mileage is low, looks pretty mint overall, and the price tag is expectedly doubled compared to usual GTS examples. But we still have the question, after 16 years of absence, why did Nissan resurrect the GT-R with the R32 generation, not the R31? What do you guys think? Maybe it did deserve to be a GT-R too. Well, looking at the Skyline's history, the 7th Skyline was produced for only 4 years, from 85 to 89, a short production term, even by today's standards. Yes, the R31 was a standalone generation, but it still was an evolution of the R30, while the upcoming model was set to have a fully new body and suspension architecture. And by the time the GTS-R was released, Nissan and Nismo were already developing the BNR32, saving key features like the 4-wheel drive ATISA system and the iconic RB26 engine for the new model. Seems like the GTS-R name was just a warm-up for the GT-R's second coming. Being the last Skyline officially sold outside Japan, the R31 still can be seen in Australia, South Africa, and the Middle East. But the Coupe GTS version was a Japanese domestic market exclusive prerogative. Now, the 7th Skyline is a prized young-timer, a rare sight and a significant piece of Nissan's history. Hope you discovered something new from this video. Got any thoughts on the GT-R bloodline and where the GTS-R fits in? Would be cool if you'd share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. See you guys.